guys, this is Lovin Meets with Adil Hussain, the founder of Brotherhood. We spoke about how men can tackle their mental health through a support group that he has started in Dubai, very beneficial for men who are facing mental health issues.
And if you missed the interview, you can subscribe to the Lovin Meets podcast wherever you get your podcasts from, and enjoy.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is Adil Hussain, a men's coach who is passionate about guiding men to embrace emotional strength, open up about their feelings, and break down the barriers of traditional masculinity. We're excited to have the conversation. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for being here and actually talking about a topic that is very taboo. But my first question is, what is a men's coach and what is Brotherhood?
So one of the things that I work with men on is just helping them tap into this thing called healthy masculinity. Maybe you heard the word masculinity being thrown around. Usually the word toxic is in front of it, but I'm helping men understand who they really are and what they're really feeling and to be more honest. I think that's really what my focus is, and also helping men get out of a tough place. A lot of guys are struggling within their mind and their hearts and not knowing how to really process their emotions, not knowing how to communicate what they are. Maybe you can relate to some guys in your life that struggle to open up. But Brotherhood UAE is a men's group. And the whole premise of Brotherhood UAE is to give men a safe space to speak up, to share their feelings, their emotions, and also make friends in the process. One of the main reasons why men join Brotherhood UAE is because they don't have any friends and they're lonely. Oh. You know, a lot of guys are out here trying to find themselves or build a business or make it, and they struggle. And they don't know how to talk about what they're going through, so they don't. We're not conditioned to speak up, right, as men. We just keep things stuck right down, and that was me as well. So for many years I did keep things to myself, and I would explode in anger or frustration, and usually at those closest to me, my mum, my sister, until one day everything had to change back in London, and I went for a really, really tough time. I don't know if I was depressed, but back then we didn't really talk about depression as much as we do now, but it was hard. I started working with a men's coach. I joined a men's circle. I started working with a therapist and just doing the work to understand why I felt the way that I felt and why I behaved the way that I behaved all those years. And then when I came out of that process, I realized that I just want to help men talk. And so when I came to Dubai, I started it. So January 2021 is when it began.
Wow. Men's circles, it just seems rare. But I want to highlight, I saw a review of the Brotherhood, which I thought was nice. It said, I really felt like I took a lot away from this morning's session, had a good chat this evening with her and smoothed it out a lot from now. Now on a mission to action the points, and we'll keep you up to date. This has been so good for me despite the short time of being involved. I've never had someone like you who genuinely cares, and now I'm focused. And I really appreciate it. So I just wonder, a really nice review, and I just feel like, what does a men's circle look like? I feel like it's a very interesting concept, but people are probably nervous to attend.
All right.
How does it go?
Yeah, so I call it the man cave. So every Tuesday we have the man cave, and it's held in a place in Al Quoz. And so everyone comes, we sit in a big circle. And I do a little meditation, just to bring them to the room. You know, just nothing too crazy, just breathe for about 3-4 minutes, just be with the heart, just be there. And then we break off into small circles, and everyone gets 5 minutes just to check in. How are you doing? How are you feeling? And we use this format called pies, which my coach, when I worked with him, had taught me. So check in physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, socially, just so that you've got a framework in how to express yourself. Some guys come and they think, I don't know what to say. I don't even know where to start. And some men will come and say, Adil, I don't want to talk. I don't know what to do. I'm a bit nervous. Can I just sit here? I say, fine. Just say your name and why you're here. But when they hear that man speak, and that man speak, and that man speak, they think, oh, this is what we're doing? We're allowed to share, and there's no judgment and there's no shame. Every single thing can be talked about, and they do. And they share some really deep things. Some men cry and open up, and only really we understand each other. Men understand men. And often as men, we're often running into the arms of a woman or to the feminine energy because it feels safer to speak up and open up. But around your boys, around guys, there's a different type of energy that you can have and a different level of comfort and safety in opening up. So they all share. No one speaks during that person's share, and there's no advice. So we're not here to help each other in terms of consultation and anything like that. It's just get it off your chest, feel better, great. After everyone's checked in, we bring everyone back to the circle and we discuss a topic. It might be love languages, healthy communication, divorce, marriage, finances, business, what it means to be a man. We've talked about everything. Imagine 3-4 years of doing this, we've covered a lot of different things. And then so they're also learning in the process too. And one thing that's missing in society today is actually just sharing that wisdom that we all have together. Often we're reading books, listening to podcasts, and we're trying to learn as much as possible, but we're not actually using it. But we forget that between us, there's a lot of shared wisdom. You're intelligent at something that I'm not very smart at, and you can teach me, and I can teach you, and vice versa. So now these men are, one, they're becoming friends, two, they're networking with each other, and three, they're getting things off their chest. So imagine that as a network of men. Now they not only have a deeper trust with each other, but now they're starting to see how they can work together and also hold each other accountable. So the group's grown from just me, about 4 years ago, to now 120, 130 men. And having 30, 40, 50 guys sitting on a Tuesday is incredible. And it's growing, you know?
Well, you said something at the beginning that men are conditioned not to talk about their problems, but throughout your experience, what are the biggest issues that men are quietly facing emotionally?
So definitely loneliness, financial struggles, wanting to be in a relationship but not knowing how to be in one or how to find the right person, stress, feeling overwhelmed with life, keeping up with the pace of, say, somewhere like Dubai, drowning in fear. I've had moments where I was so scared, just being by myself in this city, not knowing where money was going to come from, how I'm going to survive or pay my rent. Some guys are struggling. I mean, I've got one case study of a guy that found me through a Khaleej Times article that was in the paper, and he was told by his partner that he wasn't man enough, and he wasn't masculine. And he's broken, man, clinically depressed. He called me. I literally said to him, "See me tomorrow." And luckily in Dubai you can do that. It's very easy to meet people. Met him the next day, started working with him as my client, brought him into brotherhood. Now, 6 months to a year later, he's a completely transformed man because he had support from the community. I heard a story yesterday of a man told me that he's struggling with his wife. Another brother has let him come and stay with him. We've raised money for people. We've done so much with this community, and just knowing you've got someone to talk to goes such a long way. So these men are struggling in all kinds of ways. The same way you'd be struggling. We go through the same things. We don't talk about it.
Why are men less inclined to have the conversations, do you think?
Fear of being judged, fear of being seen as less than a man, fear of being seen as weak, not trusting anyone. All of these things, like being seen as a failure. You know, our sense of pride is so linked to our achievements, how we're perceived. If we don't look a certain way, we're judged instantly. If we don't have a certain amount of money in the bank or drive a certain car, you're judged. You know, status and power is important to men, and if we don't feel like we've got those things, we just feel less than. And you can say, oh, it's ego. Yeah, it is ego. And we don't know how to process it. That's why we have to come together and learn. That's why we work with coaches and we have people to help you understand so you can let go of certain things.
You said about ego, right?
Yeah.
But do you think culture plays a huge role? Because like we know that with culture, they say that the man is the provider, the man is this, the man is that, and which led to, as you said, ego. And do you think that this is all related to the man not being able to express?
I mean, ego definitely plays a part. Culture is a huge part, especially in this part of the world. And my parents are from India, Pakistan, but we do have that pressure to feel like we've got to be the one to do it all. And I actually, to be fair, I subscribe to the element of being kind of provider and giving that provider energy, but it can feel like a lot of pressure. It can feel like a lot of pressure, especially when you think you do have to do it all, and then feeling that you can't actually ask for help. We struggle to ask for help. The typical example of not asking for directions, because we don't want to be seen that we haven't got it together. Because also, in a way, like I said, we're being judged. If people think we haven't got that ability, then we don't feel like we're good enough, strong enough, and then you've got all of that. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy, I'm not loved. And we tie all of these things into what can we provide? What can we do? And that can be damaging. Yes, we should be able to look after ourselves in our domain. It's quite a nice thing to be able to do, but not at the detriment of our emotional or mental health. So that's the struggle.
Well, so if the brotherhood is maybe a weekly or bi-weekly
weekly
group that men can join, what is the next step just in terms of like, we're highlighting the problems that men may face, but do men have the same access to the support groups that we might have and not even know that we have? So like we'll have like a WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah.
And like I leave work and I'm like, you know what I mean? Or you have your sister, your mom. Do men have that same support group? And if not, do you kind of encourage to like start venting on WhatsApp to your friends? get used to those conversations?
So a lot of these guys will join the brotherhood because they can't speak to their friends. So yes, we do try to encourage that, but at least they've got it with us here. We've also got the WhatsApp group, so everyone that becomes a member has a place where they can talk. Friendships are being developed outside of that, but we do try to encourage them to, well, one, we give them the tools to know how to communicate. We talk about these, how you can talk to your mum, how to talk to your sister, and your partners, for example. So they've got that access, but having the community itself is where the power is. They know they've got 100 plus men that they can talk to. And usually what happens after a man cave or even in the conversation of the WhatsApp group, a topic might come up and then they might just DM them separately and say, hey, how are you doing? Which is exactly what's happening, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. You know, one of the most beautiful things that's coming out of the man cave is it's become a little bit of a playground and an arena for men to practice certain things. They're becoming more confident. I had one guy yesterday talk to me and him and his wife were getting divorced and he was a broken man. And the way he would speak was very much like this. He was very quiet. Now the way that he talks to the guys, and he's really come out of his shell, and I love seeing that. You know, seeing men step into their power. So there's so much support now. You know, yes, we've got the WhatsApp group, we've got the weekly man cave, we have events, we do hikes and paddle tennis, and we run workshops and talks about stress. Or we had one on last weekend about how to dress. So we had a stylist come in. So we're trying to help the men in every way, you know.
What are some of the biggest barriers that prevent men from seeking help regarding their mental
Stigma.
health?
It's the stigma that something's wrong with them. That's the biggest thing. And I like to think that Brotherhood UAE can be the bridge between nothing and therapy. Because therapy is fantastic, but that can be seen as even more of a stigma. Brotherhood UAE, I want to be like a brotherhood, really, like we're just friends. We're just hanging out, we're just talking. You don't have to think that something is wrong with you because you're not okay. And you know you're not okay. You know, if you're sitting in the car before you come home and you're just like, oh, or you don't want to go to work on a Monday morning, or you're feeling that dread, something is not quite right, or you can't sleep. Look for the signs, you know. How's your metabolism? Are you feeling down a lot? What's your energy levels like? Just because you're feeling these things doesn't mean something is inherently wrong, but you can't make a change. But we get so stuck in our comfort zone, or we think that there isn't a way out, that we feel like we'd rather just not do anything at all. But that stigma, we need to get rid of it now. And I think we are moving towards that direction of it being less of a problem. Mm-hmm. Many more people than I ever thought that I would ever see are in therapy or doing something with their life in that direction or seeking help. But we still got a long way to go.
Seeking help is one thing. The self-care market is primarily focused at females, and I feel like self-care is something I can do on a Sunday evening or a Monday morning, but it's little things, but it's entirely focused at females. And I'm just wondering, what are ways that men could probably dip into self-care throughout their day without, I guess, compromising their masculinity?
No, I mean, compromising masculinity. But look, just taking some time out, just to for those that pray, for example, for the Muslims that are watching, or anyone that prays, really engaging with your prayer. That's one thing, and treating it like a meditation, or taking time out to take 4 or 5 minutes to sit and breathe and do that, go for a walk. We had Manny on the show about a year ago, talked about grounding, putting your feet on the floor. Very, very important, going getting into nature, playing some sports, just doing things that allow your nervous system to relax, you know, without going to things like Netflix and binging on things that distract you. How can you bring yourself back to yourself? Journaling is another example. That journaling and meditation saved my life, hands down. It just allowed me to get what was going on in my mind onto paper, and I could look at it and think, oh, it's not that big a deal. Or I can just close the book and put it away. Or it allowed me to actually analyze it more logically and actually deal with some of the problems. But getting out to nature, I'd say, is one of the things we can definitely do more of. But having some boy time, like having some guy time, is very important for us, where we can just be comfortable, be safe, and just say whatever we want and just enjoy each other's company. I think it's such an underrated thing, you know. But again, without all the paraphernalia of distraction, you know, not necessarily going out to a brunch where you lose yourself, but again, always coming back to you, being present. And sometimes we can go through life and we're going through the motions. We don't know how we December. We don't want to live like that. We want to enjoy as much as we can every single day. And rather than seeking and chasing happiness, we're living for today. I think if we can take more time to live for today and slow down, I think that's the greatest self-care that we can ever do.
Has there been any negative backlash for having men's group, men's caves, something that just promotes solely men's visions, I guess.
No, it's been applauded, and even I have a lot of female followers that are huge advocates of what it is that we do. We have a partnership with a women's group called Women Who Thrive, and every month we bring the men and the women together, and we talk about topics that we should be talking about between men and women. So no, honestly, it's been honestly amazing. We're doing really well. We're growing. I'm really happy to be here because more people need to know about what it is that we're doing, and I hope that eventually we'll be also in Abu Dhabi, and we'll hit the other Emirates as well. For now, it's just Dubai.
That is beautiful, but we know that to anyone who is struggling with mental health, the first hard thing is realizing it and acknowledging it. So if there's a man that is struggling, to acknowledge that he is struggling and he needs help, what is one advice that you would give them?
Write it down, first of all. Just try to write down what it is that you're feeling, even if I don't know, I'm uncomfortable, or I can't sleep, or I'm feeling stressed. Just to connect with that feeling, first of all. Don't try to shove it down and get rid of it. Just allow yourself to feel it, and see if you can connect with at least one person about what it is that you're going through. That is the first part. At least allow yourself to feel it, because accepting it is quite hard. Accepting that you feel something is challenging. Think about one of the feelings that we try to remove as quickly as possible is anger. We get triggered so hard and we can stay in that place. How about just allow yourself to be angry? Let it process, but just being angry is one thing, but then being aggressive is the next thing. So we can avoid that part, but allowing yourself to feel the emotion is very, very important. And then once you can start to talk about it with someone that you're close with, or if you haven't, then you've got Brotherhood UAE, come and speak to us. But then we can help you with the tools to move forward. But feeling it is the most important thing. Having an outlet, the gym is a great way of just getting rid of some tension. Journaling is another way, breathing through it is another way. And these things might seem like maybe there's a barrier, but you have to start somewhere. And so there has to also be an element of, do you want to stay how you are, or do you want to make a change? And so even with my coaching clients, I say, I can only work with you if you want to make a difference. There's no magic pill here. This could be 6 months to a year that we're working together. If you want it, I'm here. So I want you guys to want it,
You have to start somewhere. A support group in Dubai doing amazing things for men's mental health in the UAE. Some of the tools may sound simple, but so important for people to be aware of them. If people watching the show today would like to join the next Man's Cave, how can they do that?
So brotherhooduae.com, or find me on Instagram, either Adil Coaches Men or Brotherhood UAE. And that's it. And we'll have you in. You can join for free for the first time. Just come and check us out. Just get in and just experience it. I know you might be a little bit nervous, a little bit scared, but I promise that it will exceed your expectations.
Adil, thank you so much for the chat this morning. We really appreciate your time. Thank you, Farah.
Thank you, Casey.
And that brings us to the end of the Lovin Dubai show this morning. We're back here with you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.